All right, Incredible Hulk #8, one of the few Marvel books that I'm actually reading regularly. I saw it pop up today, and I'm like, oh yeah, let me grab that. Let's get through that real quick. It has been good, not great, solid. I enjoy elements of it, and this issue is going to be no exception. But it does have its own set of issues as well. So let's take a peek here, will you? So the good thing is, I will say this: it gives you a horror element, and things like that. Look, this is part of the problem that we get. We keep bringing this up every single week. It seems like with a Marvel DC book, you can see the panel on the far right. No facial features at all. Two dots for eyes, a little tiny dot for a nose and a squiggle. No details whatsoever with these hyenas, and it's sort of like here's his face here. So um, anyway, so it's Banner fighting in this little like mystery. Where is he? Right, and you're basically in this sort of place. We're going to read this real quick. It says, "This is Spirits of Vengeance Part 3." Led by a primordial being called the Eldest, monsters all over the world are hunting the Hulk to use him to awaken an entity known as the Mother of Horrors. Between battling monsters and living on the road, Bruce and Charlie, a teenage runaway who escaped her abusive home, found themselves among a community of migrant workers in Texas who are under the protection of an undead ghost rider from the past. Now a monster called the War Devil has come knocking for Hulk while taking control of Hulk's body and trapping Bruce in a mental prison. So actually, I got to give it credit for this. And then the backstory. Nick Klein's art is fine. Otherwise, see how good his art will be with these panels? Like, even though it's digital, he's got a lot of detail, a lot of depth. Like, Charlie's face looks good. You have these massive, lots of cross hatching details going on with Ghost Rider. This is a lot of fun stuff. So having panels like that other one is just so unacceptable. So this is Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider is his Uncle Sal, this little boy's Uncle Sal. And basically this Ghost Rider, unlike many of the others, this Ghost Rider is pretty much tied to the child as basically a soul protector. So it's a little different. And he explains it again in this issue as well. But you can see it. Look at the almost like vintage Bernie Wrightson, Swamp Thing, Conan type stuff feel that they're going for. Nick Klein kind of gives it a different type of texture and stuff like that with what's inside versus what we see on the outside. See that? What a great contrast that is. The horror elements in the Hulk book is really what's made it kind of different. It's just set it apart, right? So anyway, basically you end up with this big battle scene, and you end up with the Ghost Rider attacking. And it's just pretty fantastic, to be honest. They got this. Look at the creature, and then you have them on scale. What's weird is I don't know when okay, here we go. They just kind of pull them off to the side. It breaks free. Okay, so the breaks free during this sequence. The sidecar breaks free. It's just sort of like laying there, and then they get out. Okay, and then this is them teaming up. Hulk grabbing Ghost Rider's chains around this creature, pulling, grabbing, and bringing him to the ground. It's freaking great. It's really, really good. So, I don't know. It's sort of like, it's not 90s Ghost Rider good, but it's not terrible. And it was a fine story to not take away from the other Ghost Rider story that's kind of out there right now, and just have a Ghost Rider appearance. And there's another Ghost Rider. I wish it had been maybe a different design and not a Ghost Rider, but I can live with it. It works okay, and it is sort of like still unresolved. Hulk has some sort of conflict. Banner's in some sort of mental prison. There's some sort of issues going on, and then Ghost Rider basically just goes, "Listen, you got to keep that kid safe. The kid's going to matter." And you look on and you see the kid there with all these other migrants or whatever. It's fine. I actually don't care for these kind of panels, and I hate this like weird. So they're doing this thing with the way they do the bubbles, right? So the word bubbles for Hulk look like this, but with a Ghost Rider, they get these like almost like saw blades going around the edges, like a jaggedy edge. So it's fine when it's on his face. When it's like this, it's off camera or off panel. It's actually kind of distracting. Anyway, But yeah, your weak spot's the girl. He's like, oh. But by the way, this HRNN, the oh, is a sound effect that he writes more than I think 3 times in this book. Shall we count? You guys know I want to count. You guys know I want to count. Let's see. Let's go back. Let's count the home. What's the over under? I think it's 3. I think it's going to be 3. We're going to go back to the beginning. Someone was mad because they say I show too much, and I'm like, well, there's whole channels where all they do is just put up the whole thing. There's not even audio. There's not even somebody talking to you about the book or anything like that. It's just them playing the book with music, or just playing the book. So it makes no sense to me. I swore there's a couple. Let's see. Come on, Hulk, where are you? Here we go. Mine, Get Out, Stupid. No, that's not it. Here's one. I don't think it's more like Shaggy. Like, it's not meant to be funny, but it's sort of like it's a filler space that he does more than once. There's a third. There it is. And this one doesn't make any sense. Like, it's not a like what's going on. Like, this shot is like, this makes sense. Like, this is the but this one should be more like a yelp, right? Or a scream or something, right? Isn't he being thrown backwards and that's why he makes the sound? So I don't know. And then we have the one at the end. So we have 2 out of 3 that are more like, oh, what's going on? And then we have this one. Oh, what's going on? Like, I don't understand that one. So anyway, I spent more time on than I did telling you about the story, I guess. But anyway, so that's it. Like, writer gives him a little bit of advice. Be nice to Charlie. Here's the people they save, and go back out on the road. That's how it ends. I thought this was weird, having this big War Devil commentary sort of like after the story. It says, the remembrances of the eldest, Ginny DeGaulle, the War Devil. As of all the children of World of Horrors, none of greater hatred for man than Ginny DeGaulle, who man has named the War Devil. And it's like this big, long narrative. Like, what? Thought that was just really strange. So, look, not the greatest freaking comic book ever, but also not the worst possible thing in the world. The fact that they do at least some horror elements to mix it up, make it okay. I like the fact that the art inside the head and outside in real life for Hulk is good. But yeah, there's an inconsistent panel. We got the whole thing. I don't understand what's happening there. So it's like one of those things where it's like, again, not the worst thing in the world, but it's kind of the state we're in. And I guess maybe the criticism really should kind of fall on the editing or the lack thereof. Because I think at this point, it's pretty much like, is Philip Kennedy Johnson getting any notes? Is someone giving him remotely any notes at all? So yeah, I don't know. And by the way, yes, there are variant covers. I have no idea why we're doing variant covers of an issue 8 where nothing is significant. But whoever Will Moss is not really doing any real editing. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not even sure I know who Will Moss is. So we'll see where life gets us. But folks, let me tell you what you're reading. Tell me what you're thinking. And it's on my sort of regular cycle list, but it's also not something I'm like, oh my gosh, run out and buy, guys. No, that's not this book. Anyway, take care, everybody. I am Pops.
Yeah. Right? And I'm not playing